The shout ripped through the tiny roadside diner like a blade cutting through silence. Plates rattled. A spoon rolled off a table. And in the center of it all, Mia froze, her hands trembling as she clutched her apron stained with coffee and yesterday's soup. She had worked double shifts for weeks, trying to gather enough money for her mother's treatment, and this job, this tiny diner, was all she had left. But now, as the man towered over her, fury burning in his eyes and a gang of leather-clad bikers crowded behind him, her heart sank. She wasn't sure if she should run, cry, or simply collapse from exhaustion. Call to action first. If you believe in kindness, respect, and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us spread more inspiring stories. Mia had seen trouble before, but nothing like this. These men weren't regular customers. They stormed in after midnight, slamming the door behind them as if the world owed them something. She noticed the cuts on one man's face, the tension in their shoulders, and the heavy boots that thudded across the tiled floor. Still, she offered a fragile smile, hoping to diffuse the tension. But the moment she brought their order, a simple stack of pancakes, the leader exploded. He claimed she dropped something on his plate, though nothing had fallen. Maybe he needed someone to take his anger out on. Maybe her tired face just made her an easy target. Mia stood alone as he stepped toward her again, shouting insults that stabbed deeper than she let show. Her co-workers had already hidden in the back room, pretending they didn't hear. She didn't blame them. Nobody wanted trouble. But trouble had already come, and it was standing inches from her face, breathing down her neck. A part of her begged to scream, to push him back, but another part, the part worn down by poverty, fear, and long nights, told her to stay still and survive. The man suddenly shoved a table aside, sending cutlery clattering across the floor. His boot hit the edge of a chair, making Mia flinch. The rest of the gang circled behind him, their tattoos dark under the dim lights. Tears welled in Mia's eyes, but she forced them back. She wanted to be strong. She wanted to fight, but she was just one woman, outnumbered and exhausted. Then it happened. The leader's boot slammed into her stomach with brutal force. The pain was instant, sharp and deep. Mia crumpled to the floor, gasping for breath, her vision blurring. Her apron soaked with something warm. She didn't know if it was blood or spilled syrup. The room spun as she wrapped her arms around herself, fighting to stay conscious. The leader sneered, stepping even closer, ready to kick again. But then something changed. A voice, low, steady, and dangerous, cut through the chaos. Suddenly the diner's door slammed open again. 3 new figures walked in, their leather vests worn but clean, their expressions serious. They weren't part of the first gang. Their presence shifted the entire atmosphere in seconds. Even the original bikers stepped back a little, sensing something different about them. At the front stood a man named Rafe, tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes that had seen enough darkness to recognize real cruelty. He didn't shout, he didn't threaten. He simply looked at Mia curled on the floor, then at the men who hurt her. A storm brewed in his silence. The leader scoffed, trying to hide his hesitation, but Rafe took one slow step forward, and that was enough. His crew followed, filling the diner with a weight heavier than violence. Without touching a thing, they created an invisible wall of power that even the loudest bullies couldn't break through. Rafe kneeling beside Mia was the first gentle moment she had felt in hours. His voice softened as he told her she was safe now. She didn't believe it at first, not until he stood up again and faced the leader. The confrontation was silent but terrifying. Rafe didn't raise a hand, but his presence alone made the gang retreat. One by one, they backed toward the door until the leader himself realized he was outmatched and fled with a muttered curse. When they were finally gone, the diner seemed to breathe again. Mia tried to sit up, but the pain forced her back down. Rafe quickly caught her, supporting her with surprising gentleness for someone who looked like he could break through walls. He asked if she was hurt. She nodded weakly, tears escaping despite her efforts. He didn't scold her. He didn't ask questions. Instead, he lifted her carefully as if she weighed nothing and guided her to a booth. His crew helped clean the broken pieces, putting the diner back together piece by piece. They even found a blanket in the back and wrapped it around her shoulders. For the first time that night, Mia felt seen, not as a tired waitress, not as a victim, but as a human being. Rafe insisted on taking her to a doctor. She resisted at first, worried about the cost, but he shook his head firmly. His club would cover everything. Nobody should suffer for trying to make an honest living, he said, his voice low but full of conviction. Mia believed him, not because he looked strong, but because he looked sincere. The ride to the clinic, the quick medical attention, the relief that washed over her, it all felt surreal. But the real miracle happened afterward, when Rafe surprised her with something she never expected, a donation fund started by his motorcycle club, enough to pay for her mother's treatment and help Mia leave the abusive job behind. Mia couldn't speak. Her heart overflowed with gratitude, disbelief, and a sense of hope she had thought she'd lost forever. Call to action second. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support encourages us to keep creating emotional, meaningful stories. And now, before you hear the final closing lines of her journey, comment kindness still exists if you believe. The world needs more people like Rafe. Mia's life didn't magically become perfect overnight, but she found safety, healing, and a group of unlikely heroes who stepped in when the world tried to break her. And every time she looked back on that night, the night she was told to get out, the night the diner fell apart, she remembered something far more important. Even in the darkest places, kindness can walk through the door without warning and change everything.